Coming off of 3 Golden Globe nominations and 3 Critics' Choice nominations, Homecoming now enters the Emmy race. So I'm here with Rosanne Tan, editor of Homecoming. I'm Riley Chow of Gold Derby. And I want to ask, Homecoming and also your previous show, Mr. Robot, they like to try to break the rules in terms of framing and editing and all the conventional rules of cinema. But I imagine that you must have some rules, maybe not a 180 rule, but something equivalent. Do you?
Sam wants us to be as unconventional as possible, but then yes, there's storytelling type of rules that we stick to. There's always continuity. You want to try to keep that because that's quite a distraction if you notice that. And then just storytelling flow. And there are music things that Sam likes or dislikes, but it's mostly it's very unique. So I would say that. As long as you tell the story well, and and Sam's happy with it, and keep the continuity, the story, the flow of the music. Those are basically it.
And as an editor, how technical versus creative would you say your job is?
I would say it's both. Not only are we, telling a story, there's also lots of things that you factor in about music editing and dealing with the technical aspects of, for example, telling a story. If something doesn't work, we would try to fix it so that it's invisible, that you can't even tell. Invisible split screens, or so those are the technicals that we deal with. Or like on Mr. Robot, we had the Wonder episode. There's stitches to deal with, and there's also some stitches in Homecoming. So we try to do both and the best of our ability. So it's very challenging, but then at the end of the day, after I'm done with it, it's very rewarding.
And can you break that down, the stitching? Because to me, I'm not sure if that's a visual effect or if that's part of the editor's job or how that comes about.
As for my job, I do the best I can. So there are certain camera, when the camera's coming down, you want to stitch 2 shots. There's like an invisible area, and I'm not the best at it because that's usually the visual effects editors. My assistant editor, Zach Dame, who's actually really good at that, he helps me temporarily stitch it, and it makes one continuous shot. So sometimes you can't tell when a shot connects to the other. I do my best with it when I can, then I hand it off to him, and then he'll smooth it out for me. And then later on, the visual effects editor artist will smooth it out and make it better. Just like, for example, in a conversation scene, if you want to slow timing down or let one character breathe and take their time when they respond, we'll do invisible, split screens there just to give it time. Because sometimes when you're on the set, the timing is what's right for the actor, but on screen you want to kind of just slow it down. So we will just slow things down, and you won't even tell because it's invisible. So we'll do things like that. And I wouldn't call that stitching. That's just invisible split screens type of thing.
Now, you were nominated at the American Cinema Editors Ace Eddie Awards this past year for your work on the episode Mandatory from the first season of Homecoming. Now, you also did the premiere and the finale, but you submitted and were nominated for this one in the middle. So how did you choose that one, and is it the same one that you're contending for at the upcoming Emmys?
Yes, I'm still pinching myself for that. I love that episode, and it's such a great combination of it, and the fact that there's like a big story reveal. There's a love connection. There's the whole medication thing that was told at the beginning, and you find out more about the background of Walter and what happened with the harmonica and Lesky, and there's this relationship thing between them that is for Walter and Heidi to get close together. And I love the music because I temp with a lot of, we do a lot of the real music with the old scores, and that's one that I'm really proud of. And the fun part was the beginning with the medication. So I picked that one because it was a good combo of everything. It was, I love how the story was told with the medicine, and I had fun with that, doing some, it's like my old music video editing type of fun. It's like, how can we tell a story with all these images and also make it fun and interesting? And then also this is a good combo. And I think Sam has said that that's one of his favorite episodes also, so that helps. And I don't know, I love that one.
And when you're voting for best editing, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for a good combo of everything, not just, how they can cut emotion and if they can, you can see different things, whether it's like a montage or a little emotional scene between two characters or three characters, and then it's just a combination of everything, and also how they involve music and sound design and all that. So I usually look for all that.
Another one of the Ace Eddie nominees this year was Alfonso Cuarón for Roma, and I heard some kind of rumblings that maybe some editors were upset that he was taking an editing credit when he wasn't necessarily working with the technical side of things. Is that a concern for you at all?
No, I mean, it's incredible that a director can do that as well. I mean, they wear so many hats, and when they're actually doing editing too, I mean, to be a good director, I feel like you have to know the behind the scenes, especially for editing. So it's great that he does it. I think Steven Soderbergh does it too, and also I'm forgetting the name for Big Little Lies.
Okay, Jean-Marc Vallée, yeah.
Yeah.
Or John McMurphy, yeah.
Yeah. So it's I think great directors edit, and it's great that they are able to do it too. Hopefully, there's still jobs for us. I can't direct, but no, kudos to them if they can do that as well. I mean, that's many hats and skills.
You mentioned the old music that the show uses, and the show really tries to, I think, emulate Hitchcock or other things from that genre. How did you try to mimic that in the editing?
Well, when we sat down with Sam, all the editors and myself, he told us basically tonally what he wanted to go for. He gave us some examples of, like Pinot Donaggio, and he told us some movies like the, Alan Pakula, Kubrick maybe, and so all the editors and myself and the assistant editors, we grouped up all the music, and we basically worked from this one giant folder, and then it was all like a trial and error. Just, every time we see a scene or we're working on a scene, we're just throwing things at it and we're trying things. And if it didn't work out, then, we'll tell somebody else about it. Oh, this worked for this scene, maybe try it for your scene. And then once we, after the meeting, once we start showing things to Sam, and Sam will tell us if he's liking the direction we're going in or not, or if this is working. So for example, for episode 4, the not mandatory, Redwood, there's a combo,
sorry.
yeah. So there's a combo of like the 50s with Bernard Herrmann in the middle when Heidi was discovering her hospital stuff from the box. So that's from the day Earth Stood Still from Bernard Herrmann. There's a combo of when Heidi and Walter in the office. That's the Vangelis cue when they're getting closer together, talking about the roadmap scene. Then the end when Colin was caught red-handed, kind of standing there. That's I think it was David Shire from All the President's Men. So there's a combo of all those different scores from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and it's great, And then there's Carrie when Carrasco is inside the building. So again, all of us were just trying different things, and when Sam likes something, then we'll move forward, and so it's a lot of researching and just trial and error. So.
And how do you collaborate with the other editors who are working on other episodes?
So the way Sam shoots the whole entire series, like he shoots Mr. Robot 2, is one giant movie. So we're all working on little mini movies, and so we're getting, there were 2 blocks in Homecoming. So 1 through 5, and I think 6 through 10. And so we're getting all little scenes from all different episodes. So we're all working at once. And once we see something, and I think for the pilot episode, the first episode, I'm getting more of that first because we wanted to turn that in first. So once I got something and and Sam's liking something, then I would talk to, Justin and Franklin, and we would kind of talk about what the flow of the music or the story, how Sam's liking the, they have split screen phone calls. So my episode, I actually have to deal with that first. Franklin was the first one to deal with it in episode 3. So once he has found a flow for that, then he was telling us how, Sam was liking it, and then we would do it ourselves, for our own episodes. So it was a good collaboration. Everybody worked really hard. It was an incredible team. So that was super helpful. I think if the team wasn't so collaborative, I think they would run into issues.
And what about, do you collaborate in terms of award strategy, like submitting episodes for the Emmys?
In what way?
Like, are you guys all submitting your own episodes, or are you saying like we'll push one of us to avoid vote splitting or that kind of thing?
No, we're all submitting episodes, so might as well. We're all trying. We all worked really hard, so.
And how did you come to work on Homecoming and Mr. Robot?
Well, Mr. Robot was I worked on season 3. I'm currently on season 4. I was on a show called 7 Seconds at the time, and I was only doing 1 episode, which ended up being 2, but I was looking for the next job, and a friend of mine said there's an opening, threw my name in, and I was just praying to God to get it. And when I did get it, it was a dream come true, and because I'm a big fan of the show, and just the editing, it's just so different, and it really elevates me as an editor. And I was just so lucky to be a part of it. And then when I was working on Robot season 3, Sam asked me to be a part of Homecoming, and I was just so excited. And then when I started Homecoming, that's another thing. It's like, holy crap, you're getting all these the amazing cast, and everybody's bringing their A game with everything. So it was just another dream come true. So
I guess as an editor, you kind of see everything. Is there like a particular cast member that you're really rooting for at the Emmys coming up?
I really hope for Julia Roberts especially, and Thomas Carrasco, who's played by Shea Whigham. They really, it was just so amazing to see their character, especially for Julia, who's going between 2 timelines. You really have to bring it. If not, it's tough. And I know she's going against many, many incredible people, but I really hope she has a chance. And then for Shea Whigham, it's just, the little nuances that he brought to the character, the glasses, the way he gets up from a chair is just, he's so amazing. And I thought he did a lot for the show. I'm rooting for everybody, but for cast, I'm rooting for 2 of them especially. So.
And how did you get into editing originally?
I started a long time ago during elementary school. We were told to, edit VHS to VHS, a little story in my little television production class, and I was hooked. And everybody wanted to be a director and a filmmaker. I called myself a filmmaker, And then when I got into high school, we got to progress with editing, and I got to do something for my high school program every week. So I went from doing tape-to-tape editing to Premiere. And then Premiere kind of led me to Avid and so forth, and Final Cut back in the the 2000s, and it just kind of stuck. So I've been doing this for a little bit now, 16 years, and I really love it. And it's just I get to tell stories. I didn't start out telling stories. I was I moved up along the way, and I'm just so happy to be able to do this.
What would you say is a misconception about your job?
I know some people do, in fact, have to push buttons, but not from what I've gone through. And yeah, I hope to not just push buttons and be told to do exactly what. But I get to be creative, and that's the fun thing. And the other misconception is we sit in a dark room and we never see the light. That's sometimes true, but not all the time. I go on walks, I get coffee, and I come back into my dark room. It has to be dark for a reason, because the sunlight is just glare from the screen. But we're just not all dark, not social people. I feel like we We're all normal people. I don't think people, you know, think of editors as often, you know. Usually people, when I post a show, they're like, oh, my family members would be, did you act in it? I'm like, no, acting's not me. So I would tell them about editing, and then they don't understand. So I then have to go, you know, oh, do you write? So it's like many steps when I explain editing. So.
Now, Julie Roberts and Sam Esmail are not returning as star and director, respectively, for Homecoming Season 2. Are you coming back, and does that affect your view on the show going forward?
I love the show, and I wish I could be on it. Currently, I don't know the schedule. I'm on Mr. Robot for most of this year, and if I can be on it, that would be great. But currently, I'm working with Sam, and we're doing Mr. Robot. So if the schedule works, that would be amazing. But currently, I don't even know my fate myself. So.
All right, and what do you have to tell us about the final season of Mr. Robot then?
Nothing. I'm sworn to secrecy. It's going to be amazing. That's all.
All right. Well, thanks very much for chatting, Rosanne, and we look forward to seeing the next season of Mr. Robot and hopefully you at the Emmys this summer.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
And to our viewers, please subscribe to this channel and also go to goldderby.com to log your Emmy predictions.